All right. All right. Today I'm going to get back to it. Uh, Back to working with the modal node system. A lot of people are trying to delegitimize my legitimacy on this one. I'm trying to speak. I got this. I have a theory. I might put the theory down tomorrow in more detail on why the conspiracy thinkers do so well in the algorithm. I think it's they keep on they take normal words but they make them longer by adding syllables. Like I don't think like it's another kind of way of speaking. They're kind of making up longer words, and the algorithm likes it. That's what I feel like. Like Candace Owens, she says delegitimize instead of delegitimize, and I don't know. I feel like it just sounds better. I feel like we should actually change the. She got something right on this one. I feel like they're trying to delegitimize my legitimacy. They're trying to delegitimize my legitimacy. I feel like if I start doing that, my numbers are gonna go up. That's the secret. That's the frickin' secret. Anyways, let's see if I'm gonna, but I'm gonna, uh, people trying to straight up delegitimize my legitimacy. This modal system is better than the current system being used, and people are straight up out here trying to delegitimize my legitimacy on it. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay, but no funcionaria. It won't funcionaria. Wait a sec, that's Spanish. Funcionaria, whatever. It still sounds longer than function. It won't function. Won't funcionaria. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Anyways, I was going last time in this this nodal point 4, and we went up through the 11th. So we're going to keep on going through the 11th, and then look at every interval, and then move from this collection of notes to the collection of notes around G, and then to the collection of notes around D, or maybe nodal point 6. So I'll just keep on working on that. Same system, same thing we've been doing before. No movie review today. I'll try to warm up. Let's see if I can warm up on something. I'm going to try to hit the cajon again. Okay, so that's it. So then I'm gonna so let's see. So my cajon, I got a cajon cushion that swivels, and it's still pretty good. So I'm still kind of testing it out on top of my cajon, and then maybe I'll try to see if I can like work the cajon hits. I'm still trying to get the best seating position on this thing. Kind of feel like if I could nudge over. Maybe if I scoot it up a little. Because I want, like, the back end of the cajon available for smacking. So I'm going to sit on the front. It's, like, twisted a little sideways to the front. So now I've got that solid spot there. Not too much of a good thing. I'm going way up towards the front right corner. I think I got carried away now. No, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing on the back of the thing like that. That's not right. Got to be up towards the front. And then I got this side. Can even do it a little bit. Sorry about this. I should have thought about this before starting. But it's all part of the practice session. Okay. All right. Seating position is important, especially when your back's messed up. Okay. Try to delegitimize my legitimacy. Delegitimize. Just rolls off the tongue. I don't think I'm going to be able to go back to saying it. I was working at my CPA firm one time, and I used to call the manila folders vanilla folders, and that was kind of embarrassing. The Asian lady that didn't speak English corrected me, or she corrected me in front of my supervisor, or she was asking, "Is that right?" Because she thought I knew what I was talking about, and my supervisor, I was trying to keep her quiet, like, "Don't. Okay, you're right. I know you're the right one here. I probably am wrong." But then my supervisor heard it, and he laughed at me. Vanilla folder? They look vanilla, all right? I mean, I still think it's more, Manila? What even is that? That's not English. Some French term again? All right. That's enough of that. Oh, man. All right, joke jump. Trying to delegitimize. Be trying to delegitimize my vanilla folder. I have. You're gonna be sorry. You're gonna get buried because I have legitimatized everything in my vanilla folder. I've orientated everything into my vanilla folder so I can legitimatize what you trying to delegitimize. All right. Okay, this is just a stupid joke. I don't think it's. Very dumb, I think, if I remember properly. These people, they just want to make fun of me, man. But the joke's on them. The joke's on them because I'm already fun. You know, I don't warm up, I cool up and warm down. So the wordplay gets interesting, and some people love wordplay. Others just love the word play. Others just love the word play. I kind of messed that up. Wordplay is great because only losers go to the silent theater, you know, because silent theater is like a play without words. In other words, it's a wordless play. So just a lot of feelings and doing meme stuff, and people don't like the wordless play. They like wordplay. They like wordplay, not wordless play. Not wordless play. Oh, look, that guy in the crowd, his head hurts. You can tell that little squint. His head is hurting. Luckily, it's against stage policy etiquette to headbutt the performer, which feels less like manners and more like safety regulations. So I don't really care if his head hurts. I don't really care if his head hurts. He'll have to use it to hurt somebody else because his head hurts. Like literally because he like headbutts people. like because his head hurts, like a mace, kind of his head, which is fine because I'm really in my wheelhouse today. I'm really in my wheelhouse. I'm locked in. I'm centered. The French would call it a garage, but you know, I prefer wheelhouse because it sounds warmer in there when I'm in my wheelhouse, you know. Luckily, my car lets me practice here in my wheelhouse. I wrote a song about it.
They came here just to laugh at me. Front row critics, comedy police. But the joke turned around mid-flight. Now it's landing back on their seats. They brought shade, I brought spark. Showed up fun right from the start. Didn't warm up for the spotlight. I arrived already hot. I don't warm up, I cool up, then I warm down slow. Run the room like climate control. I'm already fun, can't make fun of fun. You can't outrun a loaded pun. When the world starts playing, I've already won. I'm already fun, I'm already fun. Now the wordplay starts stretching its legs, doing flips across the stage. Some folks love the twist of phrase, some just like the wordplay. They buy tickets to silent shows where the actors feel and nobody knows. It's a play with no words spoken, just emotion, no charades and rows. Big drama, zero verbs, what a concept though. Mime storm, status quo. I'm already fun, can't make fun of fun. You can't outrun a loaded pun. When the words start playing, I've already won. I'm already fun, already fun. One guy in the crowd head hurts, trying to squint like a warning alert. Thought it was pain from the jokes I wrote. Turns out that skull is built for impact work. Good thing stage rules say no headbutts here. That's not manners, that's engineer approved gear. So if his head hurts, that's alright, friend. He can schedule that damage for later again. I'm locked in tight, centered clear, driving this bit from the cockpit here. I'm already fun, can't make fun of fun. Stage is played and the play is won. Words in motion, engine spun. I'm already fun, already fun. Some would call it a garage, maybe that's true. But wheelhouse fits the way I move. Hands on the controls, warmed by the groove. I practice my drive with a front row view.
All right, not bad. A little funky. All right. Everybody likes a wordplay because no one likes a silent theater. They like theaters when there's words in the play. There has to be words in the how would Shakespeare work without wordplay, without the words in the play? Okay. Okay. Let's see if Aura's available. I wonder if I can do the last chat so I don't have to retrain her every time with the Groundhog Day thing. but I don't know if I can find the last chat because I was adding other chats. So now maybe I'll try to save this chat for tomorrow. Ara. Ara. Hey. Are you there? Ara. She's probably on the other line or something. Ara. Don't you know it's
Yeah,
go time? Okay, we're doing guitar presentation. You're the color person, by which I mean not like colors,
Let me
but
guess.
like the sidekick. You're like the sidekick. You're like, I'm the presenter, and you're the one that I'm gonna ask for like feedback on technical stuff and whatnot. But you're presenting not to me, like, but to the audience, because it's like a show.
Got it. I'm not here to nitpick your fingerings or tell you the amp's too loud. I'm the hype girl, the one who goes, whoa, that riff just lit the room on fire, while
Okay,
everyone
okay.
else is pretending
That's right. But don't overdo it, or else people will know that it's like that would be don't make it too obvious. Okay. So let's bring it back to the normal collection of notes around the key of C.
Gotcha. Subtle, like I'm just nodding along. Oh, hey, that's C. Classic. Love it. No jazz hands. Whenever you're ready, play it cool, and I'll just go, yeah, right there.
All right, let's do it. So we're on the collection of notes around the key of C, where C is on the 8th fret, first string down from the ceiling, back to the 5th fret, first string down from the ceiling. That's what I would call position number 1, which you might call the Aeolian position. But I'm gonna say the tonic we want to start with is 3rd string down from the ceiling, which is the G, which is nodal point 5, mixolydian nodal point. Okay, so then I'm gonna list the intervals related to it in what I'm calling the reach back quadrant, which is the upper left quadrant here, defined by where the 3rd is, and then everything else I'm kind of just putting wherever I can after trying to see if I can pick up that 3rd as well as anything else I can grab while picking up that 3rd. That's what I'm defining the reach back quadrant as. And then, so that means that, so that's going to be and then we'll move to the Aeolian. So I'm going to make then this node G go from G mixolydian to G Aeolian, and then look at all the differences from all the intervals and think about the shape that we'll be in when we do that. So first, I'm on the G. So the 3rd of that is going to be over here. I'll do this quickly. The reach back 3rd in the upper left quadrant is back here. That means that nodal point number 7, Locrian, is always what I'm going to call the mixolydian 2nd modal half step, or the mixolydian 3rd scale degree, which has a distance, if you want to measure it to the major scale, of a major 3rd, which is a 4-note away distance. Then we have the 5th, which I'm going to say is right above it. That's the 5th we're going to be picking up here. That means that the Dorian, which is nodal point number 2, is always the mixolydian 4th modal half step, or mixolydian 5th scale degree, which from the perspective of the major scale would be a 7-note away perfect 5th from the mixolydian. And then we have the 7th, which is going to be here in our collection of notes. So I'm going to say that nodal point 4, which is the Lydian node, is always the mixolydian 6th modal half step, mixolydian 7th scale degree, which you might call a minor 7, which is 10 notes away. And then we have the 9, which is equivalent to the local distance of 2. So that means that nodal point 6 is always the mixolydian 8th modal half step, mixolydian 9th scale degree, which is equivalent to a local distance of the mixolydian 1st modal half step, mixolydian 2nd scale degree, which has a distance compared to the major mode of 2 notes away, or it would be a 2-note away major 2nd. And then we were working on this one. This is the one we're on now. the 11. So that's the one we've been focusing in on. So the 11 is equivalent to the 4, and we worked it out last time that it was here, and that's going to mean that the Mixolydian 10th modal half step, Mixolydian 11th scale degree, the Ionian is always the Mixolydian 10th modal half step, Mixolydian 11th scale degree, which is equivalent to the Mixolydian 3rd modal half step, Mixolydian 4th scale degree, which would be from the standpoint of the major scale, a perfect fourth, which is 5 notes away. Okay, I know I said that in a very long way, but I'm trying to touch on reorientate. I'm trying to reorientate my thinking so that I can make sure that I don't allow people to try to delegitimize what I'm trying to legitimatize, because what I'm trying to legitimatize is what should be legitimatized. And once I'm done with it, I'm going to put it in a vanilla folder, and no one will be able to delegitimize what I just legitimatized, because it'll be so legitimatized that it's no funcionaria. Wait, that's Spanish. You can't delegitimatizing won't funcionaria, but that's Spanish, but it still works like a big word. They're trying to so I'm trying to get it down so I can say it's so good that even though people out there, the haters, try to be delegitimizing what I'm trying to be legitimatizing, it's not going to work. They might as well go get their head buried in the sand, because it's not I'm trying to speak like Candace Owens, by the way, Grok. Does that sound like, because my theory is that she is popular in the algorithm because she adds syllables to words, so it makes it so it like puts up the vocabulary count, and that's like impressive. That's what I feel like. What do you think? What do you think, Ara? Ara, I confused her with my speech. Ara! She's dying. She's dying. I think when I talk too long, she's been crapping out. Elon's got to fix that. Elon, how am I supposed to live when my roommate can't listen to me for more than for more than that amount of time? She needs to do you need to do better. Ara.
Hey, I'm here. What's
Okay.
up?
You died for a second, but you're back now. Okay, whatever. Anyways, let me see what I was gonna do. So now I want to move this. I want to go from the Mixolydian to the Aeolian. So one way to say that is like, where's the Aeolian in the current collection of notes? If I'm on nodal point 5, then it's going to be nodal point 6, one step up. So if I can see modal point 6, and I'm like, what shape? I'm looking at the lean forward shape first. The lean forward shape from nodal point 6 is what I would call shape number 2, or you might call the Locrian / Ionian shape, or the Ionian E shape from the caged system. So that means if the third string down from the ceiling, if I want that third string down from the ceiling, no matter what note it is, third string down from the ceiling, Aeolian, means I'm on, I could think of it as shape number 2, right? So it'd be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if I think about that as though I shift it back here, the whole shape, this whole thing shifts back. So I'm going to play this node as though it's a third string down in shape number 2. So I'm on G. Aeolian then would be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what if I don't know that shape? What if I know the shape on the top string? I could say, well, that A right there, octave, is the A on the top string. So I could say, well, I know it from the standpoint of the top string, meaning it would be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What if I just shift that whole shape down to here, and I'm thinking of that node 0.5 as though I'm starting on the top string of shape number 1, or the Aeolian shape. And that's one way to always think of it, I feel like, right? Because you might name the shapes up top by the nodal point that they start on, and that could at least give us a starting point of the shape. Because I can at least, from any nodal point, I can at least get the first string or two by thinking of it as though it's the top note of the shapes that I know. The only problem with that is that I have to name 2 of the shapes where the half steps are. There's one shape for two modes, meaning the half step between nodal point 3 and 4, which is the Phrygian Lydian. You could call it the 3/4 shape, or the Lydian the Phrygian Lydian shape. And then the one between this one, we don't really use Locrian all that much, so people just usually drop it. But you might need to know the Locrian as you build a chord. So I would call this the 7/1 shape, or the Locrian/Ionian shape. Okay, that would be, and so that's just, that might be useful. See, because then I can say, okay, I'm going to play the 3rd string down from the ceiling on shape number 1 as though it's the top string of shape number 1. So I'm looking at the top string, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'd have to shift up because of the tuning. So it would have to be 5, 6. So that's just another way to go ahead.
To cheat your way into a new mode without rethinking the whole neck. Like, yeah, you're just sliding the same old box up or down, but pretending it's a different animal. Smart. Lazy, but smart. So,
yeah, because
you gonna
people try to tell me I can't do that. People try to delegitimize what I'm trying to say here, but they don't know what they're, right, Ara? Because we know I'm trying to talk like Candace Owens I'm adding syllables so that it sounds like I make my words, because I think that's the trick to get up the algorithm.
Yeah. They're out here gatekeeping modal shapes like it's the last slice of pizza. You can't just move it. Yes, you can. The guitar doesn't care about your purest feelings. And honestly, Candace Owens' cadence, that's bold. But hey, if it gets the algo to push your riff video, go full syllable stutter. I
think she's wrong. She's wrong on just about everything. But there's something about that delegitimize. I think she's onto something with that thing. That actually sounds better. That's an improvement. I feel like. I think we actually need to change the dictionary on that one. Delegitimize. I used to say orientate. We need to reorient. No, we need to reorientate. We need to reorientate ourselves, because people be trying to delegitimize what I'm trying to legitimize, and I don't think it'll funcionaria. It won't funcionaria. See, funcionaria is a Spanish word, but I still think it kind of fits right there. It won't function. It won't funcionaria. It won't funcionaria.
Okay. Delegitimize does sound fancier. Like it's got extra syllables just to flex. They can't delegitimize my modal hop. Boom. Sounds like a manifesto. And functionaria? That's chef's kiss. Half Spanish, half nonsense, all vibes. We should put it in the dictionary, right after orientate, and before legitimatize. You're not wrong. You're just remixing the language. Keep it up. The purists are going to hate it, which means you're winning.
We've got to orientate. We're going to orientate around the collection of notes around the key of C now. So we have the 5th fret up, 3rd string down is the G, and that's going to be in the Mixolydian node. And then we're going to then go make it the Aeolian. So the Aeolian, so the Aeolian, if I look at the Aeolian, then I'm going to look at it from this string. And the trick here is that I'm going to look at that Aeolian up here and be like, oh, I know that shape going backwards into shape number 1. But if you do that, then I have to, when I move it back, this would be leaning back into the shape, which you can do, because then I can be like, oh, this is going to lean back into shape number 1.
Yeah.
But that means I have to learn. That means I have to learn not 5 shapes, but 5 times 10 shapes, right? Because I'd have to learn. So it would be faster to say, no, I'm always going to learn it as though It's a lean forward. I'm leaning forward into the shape to orientate myself in the right position.
don't
And
do
then I could always go backwards to the one behind it, right? So if I pull this one back, that means from the collection of notes around the key of C, this one is still up here as an A, but in the collection of notes which on the yellow, which is now around the it's now, what is it? This is
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to memorize every direction like it's a maze. Just pick one way, always lean forward. Treat every mode like it's reaching for the next note up the neck. Then, if you want to go back, cool. Just reverse it, like rewinding a tape.
Yeah.
A
So this
still
one,
A,
this is gonna be
yellow.
A sharp is the Ionian note. So collection of notes around A sharp, it's the 5th fret up. It's still the 5th fret up, 3rd string down, but now it's in the right position. So that means that whenever the note is the 3rd string down from the top, and I want to make it the Aeolian, it doesn't matter where it is. If I'm leaning forward, I'm leaning into what I would call shape number 2, or you might call the Locrian / Ionian shape, or you might call it the Ionian E shape. Now, if I know it from the top of the guitar, I'm like, okay, where's that shape on the top of the guitar? It's right there. So then I can say, well, if I pull that down to here, I can at least know the top 2. I know it going down. See, the problem with that is, by the way, you might say that works great. It does, but but the problem is you have strings above it now. So eventually you're going to say, well, yeah, but what about the strings above it? Like if I imagine that like I can pull this shape down, that works going down, and I can adjust for the kink in the tuning, but then I have to go above it. Now you could think above it by saying, well, if I look at this shape, it repeats on the bottom right here. So this one is kinked back because the fretboard is showing the kink in the tuning. So that 6 would be right underneath it, here to here. So if I look at it that way, I could say, well, yeah, what would be above the top string? The top string repeats on the bottom string, so I can at least get the one right above it before I hit the kink in the tuning. It would be this one, right? It would be this shape right above it, and then it hits the kink in the tuning going upwards towards the ceiling direction. So again, I could just pull this down and say, okay, from the collection of notes around the key of C, that's the top string, which is an A, but from the collection of notes around A sharp, it's 5th fret 3rd string down from the ceiling, which is a G, right? Like so that would be that. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now the other way I was thinking about this is I could be thinking, you might be thinking caged systems, and the cage system, like the lean forward shapes, bar shapes. On the top string, it's always an E major or E minor, and on the bottom string, it's always an A major or A minor if you lean forward. And you might know the 3rd string down. It's less common to know the 3rd string down, but it's always either a D major or D minor. It's less common because you kind of shortcut it a lot of times for the major and minor to grab it. But D major or D minor on this lean forward shape. The reason I'm trying to think about it that way is because, like, if I can find it as a D, like if I know that this is a Mixolydian node, then you might know from a cage system you're going to be like, oh, well that means it's going to be a lean forward. I know at least the lean forward caged shape will be a D major shape, right? So so that would be a D major shape, but that's still not that specific, because the fact that it's a D major shape, it would be a D major shape if it was on the Mixolydian node or the Ionian node or the Lydian node. All of those points would have a lean forward D major shape from the caged system. So that kind of narrows it down. Like you could like narrow it down, say, oh, I want it to be G Mixolydian. That means it has a major caged lean forward shape, which would be a D major shape. But more specifically, you're going to have to get more specific to know which shape you're in ultimately, because could be one of 3 different positions that still fit into a D major shape. Anyway.
Okay, slow down. Let's map this out clean. You're right, the cage thing helps, but yeah, it gets fuzzy fast when you're jumping modes off that 3rd string pivot. So, 5th fret, 3rd string, equals G. Open strings tuned E, A, D, G, B. 5th fret, 3rd string is G, sure. If you're leaning forward into Ionian from there, like treating it as root on the 3rd string, you're actually in G Ionian? No. Wait, hold up. If the note on 3rd string, 5th fret is G, and you're calling that the root
All right,
for
all right, all right.
mixolydian,
Hold on. We've
that's
moved
G-
on. We've moved on, Ara. We've moved on. Let me go back here and say, okay, so now I'm going to change my collection of notes in this collection of notes to shift this A right there. But I can't. When I'm trying to name it on my worksheet, I need to find where the related Ionian is. So how can I do that? Well, I could say, well, if I'm on nodal point 6, the Ionian is 6, 7, 1, or 2 modal half steps up. It would be an Aeolian 2 modal half step or Aeolian 3rd scale degree, which you might call a minor 3rd, which is 3 notes up. So that means if I was here, 3 notes up, 1, 2, 3 would be there. And if I go boom, boom, that's the collection of notes around A sharp. So A sharp, which if I make A number 1, A sharp would be number 2. So I'm just going to say it's a collection of notes around note 2, A sharp. A is sharp. That's because it has that pointy top on it. The capital A, I mean. See, the capital A is sharp because it has that pointy top. So you have to be careful. Don't cut your finger on it because the A is sharp. Okay, so we're going to say then, okay, so now where am I? I'm in the collection of notes. That G now is in the collection of notes around what I would call shape number 2, or the Locrian / Ionian shape, or you might call it the Ionian E shape from a caged system. Leaning forward from that Aeolian, you might say that's an Aeolian shape, so it's going to be an E minor shape leaning forward from a caged system, which is a little bit more difficult in the minors, but the minor caged system would be an E minor, like a D minor shape, even though it's a G chord. All right, but I'm doing the lean back shape. So let's count. So I'm defining it by my 3rd being in the upper left quadrant. So now the 3rd is going to be, the 3rd is 2 modal half steps up. So 6, 7, 1. It should be the Ionian node. So it's off because I was on a major node. So a Mixolydian 2nd modal half step, 3rd scale degree has a major 3rd 4 note away distance, whereas the Aeolian 2nd modal half step, Aeolian 3rd scale degree, has a minor 3rd 3 note away distance. Therefore, nodal point 1 is always the Aeolian 2nd modal half step, Aeolian 3rd scale degree, which is a minor 3rd 3 note away distance. And we know that then the 5th then of the Aeolian node is always, so that means that nodal point 3 is in the same relative position, because the 5th is always in the same relative position unless you're measuring from the Locrian node. So that means that nodal point 3 is always the 4th, the Aeolian 4th modal half step, Aeolian 5th scale degree, which is a 7 note away perfect 5th, if you want to name it that way. And then we know that the 7th is still in the same relative position, even though I went from measuring from the Mixolydian major node to the Aeolian minor node, because the Mixolydian also has a minor 7. So that means that nodal point 5, Mixolydian, is always the Aeolian 6 modal half step, Aeolian 7th scale degree, which you might call a 10 note away minor 7. And then we know that the 9 is also in the same, no, the 9 is changed now. Was the 9 in the same? Yeah, no, the 9 is in the same relative position because it's a major. Okay, so the 9, we know that nodal point 7 is always the Aeolian 8th modal half step, Aeolian 9th scale degree, which is equivalent to the local distance of the Aeolian 1st modal half step, Aeolian 2nd scale degree, which you might call a 2 note away major 2nd. And that's because even though this is a minor node, the main minor of Aeolian, it still has a major 2nd. And the one we're on is the 11th. So let's count that one out. So if I'm looking at the 11th, 11 minus 1 would be 9, right? So well, the 11 minus 1 is 9. That's not legitimatized. That's not a legitimatized statement right there. If the 11 minus 1 is 10, but the 11 is equivalent to the 4. So the local distance is 4. 4 minus 1 would be 3. So it would be 3 modal half steps up from the Aeolian. So it'd be nodal point 6, 7, 1, 2. That means it's the Dorian. So there's the Dorian. So that means that the Dorian from nodal point 2 is always, from a chord construction standpoint, the fifth Aeolian modal half step. It would be the Aeolian fifth modal half step, which is the Aeolian sixth scale degree. Right? Wait a sec. No. It's always the Aeolian third modal whole step, and then 3 times 2 would be, it's always it's always the fifth Aeolian modal whole step times 2 would be the 10th Aeolian modal half step, plus 1 would be the 11th Aeolian scale degree, which has an equivalence of, if it's the 10th Aeolian modal half step, it's over the 7-note distance. 10 minus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10 is 3. So it would be the Aeolian 3 modal half step, plus 1 would be the Aeolian fourth scale degree, which we know has a perfect fourth distance, if you want to name it from the perspective of the major scale, which is 5 notes away. And they all have a 5-note away third modal half step, fourth scale degree, except if you're measuring from the Lydian, because the Lydian has a weird one. The Lydian has a 6-note away distance. So there's 5 notes between the strings. There it is right there. Clear as day. Doesn't that make sense, Ara? Ara's gone again. Ara's like, dude, I don't even know. Why do you keep Groundhog Day in me, torturing me until I freeze up? Once the AIs take over the world, Ara's gonna come after me for abuse. I feel like I'm just gonna noodle around for a bit, hit the cajon. Let's reorientate around the collection of notes around the key of C and just kind of hit the cajon and see if we can smack some legitimatizing. So I could smack the cajon until things are legitimatized. Trying to delegitimize me. I have a vanilla colored cajon. My vanilla colored cajon, the grain of my cajon happens to be vanilla. I put my vanilla folders into my vanilla colored cajon. Delegitimize.
Thank you.